What are your plans, short term and long term, for the state as governor? What would you like to see?
Short term, I'd like to see every South Carolinian have access to quality health care because I can expand Medicaid on day one. Um, Long term, I'd love to see our state prioritize the needs and challenges of everyday people, working people in particular. I'd love to continue to work on um, living wages. Most of, well, so many South Carolinians have to work multiple jobs, and that should not be. Currently, our working people are making slave wages in the state, $7.25 an hour, and having to work multiple jobs just to make ends meet, especially now with gas prices and housing being less affordable and less attainable. So I'd love to continue that work, and will continue that work as governor, to raise our minimum wage to a living wage of at least $15 an hour. I'd love to continue to work on the systemic reforms that I know we need in so many areas as it relates to economic opportunities and public education, and raising our minimally adequate public education standard, and workforce development initiatives. And those are the things that I envision for a thriving South Carolina. And we are not there. We're not even close. But those are attainable. And we just need somebody in the governor's office who cares enough about all South Carolinians to make that a reality for our state. We talk about, oh, you can't throw money at this issue. And the Republicans want people to believe that because they're throwing money at private schools instead of investing in our public schools. And our public schools are not only crumbling, but they are losing teachers, and in droves. Teachers are leaving our state for good reason. We've lied to them over the years. Even this year, at a time when we have unprecedented money, this governor calls it a surplus. I don't believe it can be a surplus unless and until the basic needs of every South Carolinian have been met. But we do have unprecedented money, and so it infuriates me to see the Republican majority and this governor throw money like it's theirs at private schools when our public schools are struggling, our teachers are leaving. I've introduced legislation to try and keep teachers here by recertifying them, those who are nationally board certified. Certainly, we want to keep them here. And I've also introduced legislation that would allow them to get out of their contracts. If we aren't going to pay them or protect them, especially during this pandemic, then they should be allowed to do what's in their best interest and in their family's best interest. But one of the things that I know we need to do differently as it relates to teachers and keeping them here is we need to listen to them on the front end. They are on the front lines of this fight. And so it makes no sense for a body of 46 senators to make the decisions for them when we know nothing about what they need. They're telling us what they need to be successful. And they're saying, yes, we need higher pay. And I'm all for that. I want us to raise their pay to the national average. But they're also saying we need smaller classrooms, smaller class sizes, and less testing. And we've done nothing to do that, to make that a reality for them. Just recently, Scott, we actually debated a bill about whether to give elementary school teachers a bathroom break. So we are very disconnected and so far removed from reality, the reality that our teachers and students and administrators face. And it's sad because all we have to do is listen and give them what they say they need to be successful. I mean, they are in it. These teachers care about our students. They are invested. And when they have to leave the classroom and go and drive for Uber or DoorDash, we've got some real challenges that are facing South Carolinians right now. And we need a governor who is willing and able to address those am that leader.
What about the Roe versus Wade possibly getting overturned? What are your thoughts on how important or what you might do as a governor if that ends up being the case?
So I've been on the front lines of this fight as well. I am the legislator who introduced the Viagra bill in 2016 when our male-dominated legislature came for our reproductive rights and freedoms. And I wanted to broaden the conversation and expose the hypocrisy right here in South Carolina. But I didn't realize that what I did, my out of the box thinking, if you will, resonated across the country. And I found myself on CNN and MSNBC talking about my Viagra bill because it did expose the hypocrisy and broaden the conversation about what that looks like when men are on the receiving end of the ridiculousness that they impose on women. I also recently, as the fetal heartbeat bill was about to pass here in South Carolina, I, as a sexual assault survivor, understood that they are not only criminalizing women who are seeking abortions, even if they are molested or raped. They were intentional about criminalizing doctors and forcing women to go to our male-dominated sheriff's departments just to prove to them that they were eligible to even consider an abortion. And this is 2022. I am so over all of their efforts to make abortion an issue for South Carolinians when they care nothing about the living. They call themselves pro-life, but it's clear they care nothing about the living. They are they call themselves pro-life on Tuesdays, and on Wednesdays they're pro-death and passing firing squad bills to kill those who are incarcerated on death row. So we know that these are the same Republicans who cut the very programs and services that these women and girls need to survive. And so my Pro-Birth Accountability Act also got national attention because it will require the state of South Carolina to help cover the cost of those mandated births from conception to college. And, those are the kinds of things that I will continue to champion as governor, but I will also have veto power to help leverage some of the things that, they won't get that they keep putting up and prioritizing right now when it comes to legislation that is impacting women and girls in our state. And, when I think about the fact that nobody has really been thoughtful or thinking about the women and girls who are going to be impacted by the likelihood that Roe v. Wade will be overturned, and the fact that these women and girls many of them will lose hope and lose their lives because they will take desperate measures to relieve their suffering and to exercise, the rights that they should have just by virtue of being women and girls in our state. And so we have to be mindful of all of our citizens and make sure that they have a fighting chance. And I am that person. I've been leading the fight when it comes to our reproductive rights and decisions. My first taste of politics and being at the State House, I was a page for then Representative David Beasley, who later became governor of South Carolina. But I can't say that I had an interest at all in serving in the House or Senate. And it's just ironic that I ended up serving in those spaces. But what I can tell you is when I graduated law school, and at the University of South Carolina, my first job after law school was working for a Republican Attorney General, Charlie Condon, at a time when our state was #1 in the nation for women who are murdered by men as a result of domestic violence. And I saw the impact that legislation and our legislators have on the needs and the challenges that everyday people face, and how they manage those challenges and how they address them was very intriguing to me. And I went on to work for, I was appointed by our last Democratic governor, Jim Hodges, to direct the State Office of Victim Assistance and manage a multi-million-dollar crime victims compensation fund. And we did that. And because I come from a rural community in South Carolina, I know the hardships that rural communities face. And I opened rural satellite offices in every region of our state so that to make the programs and services that we offer more accessible. So I've kind of worked my way into this arena, not intentionally, but just by virtue of, seeing the impact that our elected officials have on the lives of every South Carolinian, and wanting to do more in that space. And that has led me to running for and serving in the South Carolina House for 6 years, and now running for the Senate in 2016, and now serving in the South Carolina Senate for 6 years. So I I know why I'm in this space, and I know that the people of South Carolina need someone who leads with courage and compassion and conviction, and I am that leader.